No echo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Not echo.
All good?
Okay.
And Vitor, can you also say something?
Hello, can you hear me?
Nice. All good.
Good. Then I'll let people in.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the tech requirement session for the reputation-based weighted voting. Good to see you all here, I must say. So this session was organized a little bit short notice, and super glad to see you all on board to further explore the requirements. Maybe before we start, do you guys have any immediate questions? So things you need to know, open questions resulting from yesterday before we dig in again? So any links you were not able to find? Hi, Natalia. All good? Okay. I mean, as usual, as yesterday, feel free to switch on your mic if you have any questions, and feel free to drop your notes to the chat so that we can make sure you can all follow and we have a super efficient and valuable session with Vitor. Maybe before we dig into the requirements again, Vitor, feel free to introduce yourself since students haven't met you yet.
Hey everyone, my name is Victor. I'm based in Brazil, and I help the academy with the platform, so the website and all everything that involves it. So the NFTs and the infrastructure around it. So yeah, I'm here to help today and ensure we can find a good middle ground of technical solutions for the voting mechanism.
Yeah. Cool, thanks, Vitor. And that said, this means also we were talking yesterday about timelines for the implementation. Yes, we'd like to have a fully functional voting system by mid-June, but it's not the students' task, your task to implement it. Vitor can take care. This will be much more efficient since he knows the existing infrastructure of TE Academy. Nevertheless, of course, we have to discuss our solution with him, and we'll schedule a second session to show him the first solution we found, let's say in 2 to 3 weeks, to then get ready for the implementation. And this is also to show you how token engineering works, because at some point you have to make sure that your design, your voting mechanism works in the environment you've chosen, on the network you've chosen, designed, so that it's not only about the pure algorithm design, it's also about the software engineering around it. Okay. Cool. I thought, I don't know if you guys followed the conversation we already had. So I've seen, let me give a shout out to those who have been active, because I'm really glad to see your inputs and also to the questions you raised, because some of them actually need clarification, and I'm glad you bring them up. So there was Sangam who created our requirements sheet, and we had some conversation on what are requirements as opposed to solutions. So our task in the requirements engineering is to look at only what we want to achieve. Next step then is how we can achieve this, finding solutions. But at this point, we only look at 360-degree, 100%. What do we want to achieve? What are the goals? And at the same time, what are the limitations we have to take into account? These two elements, that's the focus for this week. And thanks, Sangam, for preparing this sheet. It's ready to use by you all. Please submit your requirements and add your notes. That's super valuable now, and we want to complete it by next Tuesday. And there was also, let me see, Nuts, Sloppy, I'm reading out the Discord names, Renee, V007, Watcher, Natishi, Ark. Hope I don't forget anybody. actively working on the rights, meaning the actual voting design. I'll give you an overview now on the proofs. I put together some diagrams to make it more tangible. So we have the TE fundamentals NFTs. So these are the NFTs you can earn based on the token engineering modules, TE fundamentals. You can find them here. These are the online courses, and you can also see how many enrolled. And here at the lower end, you'll see these NFTs, I mean the visual representation, in this case the PNGs, and some details about it. And this is what I mean if I say TE fundamentals, in this case module 5, NFTs. Okay, and the prerequisite for all students is to have a TE Academy account and a wallet connected. Then, once they have passed a TE fundamentals exam, they can mint an NFT and are eligible to vote. And I've put this tiny little green flag just to indicate that these NFTs will be available before the fellowship voting. Some of the NFTs won't be available before, but this is these TE fundamentals exams NFTs are available beforehand, and also the free minting for you guys if you have already passed or plan to pass an exam. You'll be able to mint for free prior to the voting. So this is number one, this type A of NFTs, and we have 5 at the moment and some more as legacy NFTs. And all these NFTs have an identifier, the URI. And we can provide you lists of the NFTs, we can classify, we can discuss the classification to then spec out how Vitor should implement the voting algorithm. Okay. Type B requisite is having a TE Academy account and a wallet connected. And in addition to that, there were certain other contributions to the ecosystem. For example, people who attended the EFCC track day in 2023 or in 2024 will receive an NFT. Fellowship candidates will also receive an NFT. Then being member of the fellowship committee, remember those 4 people who selected the candidates. These are all long-time community members and advanced token engineers, specialists in this sector. They were participating in the fellowship committee. They also will get an NFT. The study season speakers, all of them, German, Trent, Octopus, myself, and Mark Richardson. And the speakers at EFCC 2023, this is what I mentioned here, and the bar camp. This was also an event in 2023 where we invited the community to come to Paris and work with us last year. So, okay, I just saw that, oops, I have to copy this because this is already minted. Okay, and these NFTs then will be available as a proof in the NFT system for our voting design. And this class is the special contributions or proof of attending. The winner of the fellowship also, of course, gets a special NFT for special contributions, but this is also only obviously available after the voting. I stop here in case you guys have questions. So far, all good? Do we have fellowship partners from previous years or the participating ones that have an NFT and may vote? Okay, cool. Good question. So maybe, Nati, can you let me know what you mean with fellowship partners?
Yeah, sorry, my voice is not so good because it's early here.
Good morning.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I understood correctly, but when you said fellowship members, are you talking about the candidates that are participating right now, or previous ones that we already had? Because I'm not clear on that.
Okay, so we have two types around fellowships. A, fellowship candidates. So first of all, we never had a fellowship program ever before. This is the first instance. So there are no former fellowship program members committee whatsoever. So this is the first instance. And here we have fellowship candidates. These are the 4 people who are offering learning sessions. Roderick McKinley, Muhammad Idris, Giuseppe De Stefanis, and Vasily Sumanov. So remember these in the lower section, track 5 to 8. And they are candidates. At the moment, they are on the short list, but we vote on these 4 people. And as being on the short list, they'll receive an NFT. However, I would suggest that this is our voting design. I would suggest that they themselves can't vote on who should be the fellowship winner. The other section around fellowships is the fellowship committee. The committee was a committee of token engineering specialists that are not equal to the candidates. It's rather like a jury that selected these candidates. They are contributed to the space. They have taken their time to evaluate applications, and they'll receive an NFT to prove they have been participating. And I would say, yes, they should indeed be eligible to vote on the fellowship winner. Does this make sense? Was this good? Okay, cool. Right, so these are special contributions. The number of NFTs we have already minted or will mint after the voting, and even before now in the course of the study season. And here's a final one around the study season NFTs. Again, these will be NFTs that prove knowledge and achievements during this or associated with the study season. Our requisite is have a TEA account and a wallet connected. And we'd like to mint NFTs to everyone who registered to the study season. Like, you have been part of this journey. It's a proof of attendance, lightweight. Then we'll have you guys who are actively taking part in the study season in one of the live tracks, work on weekly homework assignments, contribute to the requirements with the point systems, etc. And we'll have established some criteria. They vary slightly from live track to live track, but in our case, track 4, we say, okay, you have to accumulate a certain minimum number of points and submit a final report. This is the passing criteria in our case. And based on this live track passing criteria, you'll be eligible to mint a proof of knowledge. And there's a third variant of NFTs for the live tracks in the study season. These are people on the Discord who participate in the give and get task and social sharing. So you might have seen these Wonderverse tasks where you, for example, you share with your fellow students what are you reading this week, what you are active in. You invite other students. We'll have more give and get tasks throughout the week. And this active participation should also be, maybe there might be some kind of leaderboard or minimum points, and then people will receive also a proof of contribution or being active. So these are the 3 types: proof of participation for everyone who registered, proof of contribution who were active in the give and get tasks, and the proof of knowledge for a live track session completion. And looking at these different, let's say, criteria to receive an NFT, I think you maybe have already first ideas on the weight that should be associated to these NFTs, the voting power. If we say, okay, we want to make experience and expertise in token engineering count in the voting, we could, for example, discuss if maybe just by registering for the study season, you have maybe a lower voting weight compared to you were able to complete a full life track and pass the examination. Makes sense? Does this classification overview make sense? Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah. When does the week start? Is it between two consecutive sessions, like Wednesday to Wednesday?
You mean what week? The voting week?
No, it says that complete and give a task per week. And,
okay. The Wonderverse task run, Fabi, it's Tuesday to Tuesday, right? Fabi's here
We
in the
have
call.
two,
She's,
Tuesday
okay.
and one for the weekend.
Okay. So one runs for 1 week each, Tuesday to Tuesday, and one runs from Friday to Tuesday, right?
You're right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll take Joanne, and then we take a look at the chat. Joanne, you also have a question?
Yeah. Could we imagine kind of a complex vote where the candidates got points within different categories of accomplishment, where, say, participants would have a higher weight when it came to judging the pedagogical skills.
Yeah.
But the committee members would have a higher weight when it came to judging the hard T skills. Something like that, or is that too complex?
I guess this is up to us to decide. Maybe I answer quickly, and then also Vitor might want to answer. From my side, I would say we should find a good balance in making the voting up and fit for purpose, so that we say, yeah, we really feel comfortable with this voting mechanism. Second, overall, the voting should, reward most valuable work in the token engineering sector overall. And we should, of course, avoid voter apathy because of, it's so complicated to evaluate all these different elements. It takes me ages. I don't understand how this works. Okay, I don't vote at all, because to me, it would be sad. Now I'm speaking from a client perspective. It would be really sad if the voting outcome is, okay, we had 30 participants in the voting. This would be really sad. I mean, we have now 500 registrations in the study season, more than 1,000 exams minted, more than 4,000 students enrolled. So I would hope to have, let's say, and I'm really conservative, I would say, given my experience in DAOs, I would hope that we have minimum 100 wallets active in the voting. And then this is one of the elements we should keep in mind. Now, Vitor, what do you think about Joanne's rating different, pedagogic, I can't say this word, how this learning sessions have been structured, or the content itself, or the achievements? So these differences from a technical point of view, how easy, hard might it be to implement?
Yeah, basically, if you use like snapshot strategy or any other voting mechanism, it is basically a JavaScript function that like will execute a code and like give you like the score for like each person. So basically, it's pretty simple to add that because, for example, each NFT for like, as you said, like a category, like a contributor or like a person that like participated in like a specific action will have a different like identification. So it's like fairly simple to add an algorithm that will say like, okay, if you hold an NFT that like means that you were in a role, you can get like one amount of points. But like if you hold another NFT that like means that you have like another role, you can have another amount of points, and like we can like decide it as we want. So that part of like reading which NFTs you hold and like giving different like points or like voting abilities. So like if you hold this specific NFT, you can vote. If you don't, you cannot vote. Or even if you hold like more than one or something like that. I don't think it's the case here, but like that's like simple to implement.
And equally, I feel, of course, the voting interface, voting several. So you would not give only the Joanne, your setup was referring to also how to evaluate the 4 candidates, right? And should we just say, I choose candidate 3 and that's it? Or should we, I mean, a more complex setup would say, here are 5 dimensions, evaluate each candidate, and then we sum up your evaluation and the total evaluation of all voters, and then we'll have a result for the final winner. This is what you suggested, right, Joanne?
Right.
Right.
I figure different people would have different qualifications for judging different things.
Yeah.
So it would be a way to value those different qualifications.
Yeah, makes sense. This would mean we would have a more complex voting interface, Vito, right? For the voters.
Yeah, and just to add on top of that, like there are 2 things basically. One is like vote weighting, which means like given which NFTs you have, like who you are, basically, like which data we get, you get a different weight for like voting. So like we can have like all the same weight, or like we can make like more or less weight, or like we can say like whoever can or cannot vote. So this is like kind of vote weighting. But then like after that, there's like actually the voting mechanism itself. And then like we can add like any form of interface, like either like a simple choice or like ranked choice, or like pretty much any kind of like voting mechanism. So I have to think of like which weight you want to give, or like which person you want to let vote or not, and also like how do you vote specifically.
And again, I mean, it's the first iteration. Retro PGF also had iterations. The first round was super simple. Maybe we have to take also a simple route given the timelines, but I get what you mean, Joanne. Yeah, thanks. Fabi just dropped some notes on the timelines. I checked the chat. So ARC just posted, will voting be solely available to NFT holders? In our case, no, I think, right? Vito, we could whitelist anybody who has the minimum requirement can be seen on the left. Have a TE Academy account and have a wallet connected to it. You don't even have to have any NFT.
Yeah, that's true.
This would be the minimum requirement. Okay. Other question is how much weight or decision-making power these non-NFT holders should have. Then Yongs asks, how often does the Academy have a proposal that NFT holders can vote on? Great question. It's the very first time. So actually, TE Academy is not a DAO, and we have not established any DAO practices yet. This is our first iteration to make the community take decisions. Meaning, this is also what we have to keep in mind, there is no practice established not only on our side, also at the TE Academy student side. They are not used to voting. They are not used to the tools involved in voting. This is the first instance of decision making, meaning what does this mean for the information we have to provide, for the timelines we have to take into account, also for the complexity. All right. Then what else? Nati dropped a note, create an algorithm to give a voting weight based on TE ethos, knowledge, contribution, participation paths. Yeah, this sounds interesting. Let's further explore it. Mate says fellowship committee members attend some of the live tracks of fellowship candidates. Not necessarily. We don't require them to attend the sessions. So they have taken their decision who should be on the short list based on the applications. So fellowship candidates submitted an application. And then for the rest of it, how students will judge on who should be the winner will be the learning sessions they provide and all associated materials. Plus they can meet them, of course, in the lectures. Okay, I'll check one more note. Okay, Spaces has a question.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
So I wanted to know, would the TE Academy be building a dashboard where each student can be able to see their reputation score? Right? Yes.
If we can make it, if we can make it in time, this will be certainly super cool. Vitor, I mean, this probably needs expanded skills. So if, let's say, I just drop a thought here. If we have anybody I mean, there are great tools to create Python dashboards easily. If we have someone in the team who is able to spin up such a dashboard and visualization for that we can connect with the NFT backend easily, this could be an option. I wouldn't, if we can cover it with students' capacity in the live track, I would say. Vitor, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think like given the timeline, like we'll have like an open API for you to like check whoever hosts like that NFT. So yeah, you can make it's visible.
Just we would have to take care for the front end.
Yeah.
Okay. Spaces, any appetite to maybe start building? I mean, I'm totally pro. Good. Nati, for Vitor, how can we connect Wonderverse tasks points with NFT owners and wallets? Do we have a Discord DB linked to the address at TE accounts? Okay, first of all, one first answer to this and then Vitor again. We'd like to use the Wonderverse dashboard, leaderboard structure to identify the most active users. So this is at the moment not connected to any backend on the TE Academy side. However, of course, once we have identified a certain certain user base and these people have connected their wallets, then we can whitelist them for receiving an NFT. Any more thoughts on this one, Vitor?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I'm not super familiar with like the Wonderverse task points and how they connect actually, and that's the only part. I'm not really sure.
But Nati, Wonderverse not directly linked to the NFT infrastructure. We'll identify the most active users, then get their wallets linked. This could be maybe the final Wonderverse task, and then these people will be whitelisted for the NFTs.
Okay, yeah.
And
they'll probably be like a single run the script to like get it up.
On Sangam asked, on what basis people who have just registered, not attending tracks or completing given tasks, be able to judge and vote exactly via this? The minimum requirement to participate in the voting would be TE Academy account plus wallet connected. How many of you have already connected their wallets? Just, I'm keen. Can you raise your hand maybe? Okay, Joanne, yes. Sangam, perfect. Yongs. Okay, yeah, this looks good. But keep in mind that if we want to have our target number is 100 participants in the voting, we have to make sure that we have a minimum of 100 wallets connected, and these people have to know how the voting works, what is up for voting, etc. Yeah, okay, cool.
Just another question for that minimum requirement. Is it like retroactive? Let's say like people that connect their wallets, let's say beforehand or afterwards, would that be retroactive, like, to check or to track that they have participated on those sessions so that they fit the minimum requirements?
Okay, here we have to take a look at the different types. So for TE fundamentals, if anyone has passed an exam, he or she is eligible to mint. And even if they passed the exam last year, they can mint because they get to know, oh, there's a voting, I need an NFT, okay, I should mint it. They can mint it in June and then participate in the voting. I think Vitor, we have to define a snapshot date, right? To take a look at the wallets and the NFTs to say, okay, this is the deadline to mint your NFTs. And if you mint later, it won't count in the voting, right?
That would be your record date, basically. Date of records where you take.
Right.
Like for instance, you can make either way. Like you can make with snapshot, but you can make ongoing. I know there's a civil issue with like ongoing. Just saying like it's possible to also make like let it open in the voting, and then like you can just mint a new NFT, and like as soon as you can vote. Yeah, both are possible.
And regarding civil attacks, please do check out this NFT-based reputation course and all information we provide in the FAQs around NFT certificates, because we invested a lot of time last year to make the system as civil-proof as possible. The NFTs are not transferable, any NFTs. The wallets are immutably tied to a TE Academy account, so you can't lend away your NFTs for voting, for example. And we can say, okay, you have to mint the NFT by latest this date, and only then it will count. So you can't, so for example, I'm just making up something, but someone who wants to make a certain fellowship candidate to be a winner can't just open 500 new TE Academy accounts, connects 500 wallets, and then takes over the voting. I mean, we can counteract this via the weights, because just for registration without NFT, you shouldn't be able to, take over the voting, as opposed to someone who passed TE fundamentals. You have to invest weeks, sometimes months of time to pass the exam. So this is way harder to fake. And yeah, so voting weight is a measure to defend against civil attacks, and also the date. So we can define a certain date. By latest, you have to mint these NFTs, and we can exclude all 0 NFT accounts from voting after measures like that to make our system robust against civil attacks. Makes sense? Jamil, I'll drop a note in the channel. You can also find more information at our webpage. If you go to FAQs and then just type in certificate, you'll find all the information you need for connecting your wallet. There are also video tutorials. Okay, other questions around the voting design, the voting algorithm, the NFTs, infrastructure? And keep in mind, all the questions you've asked, all the notes you take, make sure to submit them to the requirements sheet we have on our Discord, thanks to Sangam. Sangam, maybe you can drop the note, the link to this requirements sheet again in the chat as well. Joanne, you have more questions. Go ahead.
One more question.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about the requirement sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just for the requirements that you have already agreed on, or is it for suggestions?
This is for everything you can think of. So I would, it's not, we have to take a decision what requirements are most important and what we can ignore, but this will be topic of next week. For now, just try to capture everything you've encountered in our conversation, either because I mentioned it explicitly as a requirement from TE Academy's side, or because you feel this is something relevant. So if you take a look at, for example, these comments on how can we gain legitimacy for choosing the voting algorithm, this is something you can bring up yourself, and we should just try to capture everything. And then we might find some of them are just not feasible or are, don't apply here, but for now, no limitations. And that's also practice. You should establish in requirements engineering, go 100% 360 degree, and then start sorting and prioritizing. Okay. Of course, Nati, I'll share the slides that give this overview on the NFTs on the Discord so that you have a reference. Okay, anything else? Oh, we have a volunteer for the website dashboard. This sounds good, Felix. Let's stay in touch. I'll ping you after the session. Okay. I have more questions if you guys don't have any at the moment, Vitor. We briefly touched on in the first session on snapshot and snapshot strategies. Can you elaborate on those to give us just a first picture of how one implementation route could look like?
Yeah. So like snapshot strategies are basically like used by the GIS DAOs and space life. And basically it is like an off-chain voting mechanism. So like basically whoever vote would not like have to actually like submit a transaction. So like the upside is like it has no cost for you to running it and like voting basically. But like basically whenever you're gonna vote, like you have to sign your wallet and like it gets like kind of a proof of the signature. So like ensures like cryptographically is as safe as like signing a transaction. And then like it has like the safe kind of this proof of the voting into like into BFS. So like basically after the upside is like you don't have to pay for the any transaction fee, but then like the results of the voting are kind of can be audited. So like I imagine like we make a vote here with like a specific weight, etc. And then after the vote passed, like anyone can go there and like audit and check and ensure that like the vote was like fair and like everything happened as expected. So like is everything like in that way decentralized and like provable. And the great part is like they already have everything built for like the snapshot strategies, these voting strategies that they call. They're basically an algorithm that can run, as I said before, like have these weighting method. They're like there's like an algorithm that runs in JavaScript and can like assign given a wallet. Like for example, you add your wallet there, connect the wallet to use the Academy, and you can run any script that you want. For example, get the NFTs you have and like give you a score. So like that would be kind of it has like this weighting mechanism as we discussed, and also have a lot of like different voting interfaces already. So like if you go to their website, they have a list of a lot of interfaces that they already exist. So like if you have a lot of choices, you can choose one. You can like give weights for them. You can rank them. So like I rank choice voting. So the upside is like it is simple to use. It is free to use. It is centralized, and it has like it's been used for like major DAOs in the ecosystem. And it also allows us to like to not like kind of frame it that we want like a lot of the features that we need are already like implemented there. So it will be faster to add. That would be the kind of picture or snapshot that I like.
Yeah, I dropped a link to Snapshot. The cool thing about it is that's why we bring it up is the less time we need for the implementation, the more time we can spend on the voting algorithm itself. And since we all, I think, start to understand that the voting algorithm really can be shaped in so many ways and can be very sophisticated to cater our needs, it would be good to say, okay, let's try to find a solution that makes implementation super easy. And Snapshot could be one route. And Vitor, you are continuously pitching it to me because of the off-chain implementation and off-chain transactions. And I think many are not aware of the costs of establishing something like a voting algorithm, and how these are affected by the choice of doing something on-chain or off-chain. Can you elaborate a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also like kind of if we want to go on-chain, for example, the alternative will be use like something like a Zeppelin governor, which is used vitally as well. Like so, like basically now voting like landscape divides into like people using like Snapshot, which is like off-chain as I mentioned, and like governor, which is like on-chain. But the problem with it is that like for simpler voting, it works fine. But the problem is that like the bigger computation that you need to check if like someone is like the wait for someone. In our case, like we have to check like all the NFTs, etc. In JavaScript, like it's free for us to do it. But like the more like computation need, like more complex the voting mechanism would be. To do this on chain will be more costly because like the more computation you have, the more computation costs you have, like it's way more expensive. So that will be kind of a downside, and there are like even things that like are not feasible to do insulated directly. So yeah, that will be kind of the downside of going to on-chain voting. And also like on Snapshot, like the signature is like cryptographically provable and is like a censorship resistant the same way. And like kind of a third way would be to do it like ourselves, but then the problem is like you're not censorship resistant in that way as well. So like there are mechanisms to allow you voting, but like you're not like either off-chain, but like with cryptographic proofs or like on-chain. And then like you can have a really great mechanism design, but then if you're not censorship resistant, you cannot. I know we all trust like the academy, but like if like for like designing a generic system, if you don't have like censorship resistance, it's a bit like it doesn't make much sense to have a really complex voting mechanism, at least in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, this is also something important to take into account that, let's say, we discussed yesterday that any voting algorithm is perfect as soon as we have more than two choices to make. Then we can come up with the most sophisticated design to counteract dictatorship, and at the same time have a super vulnerable system that can be gained on the proof side, for example. And then all our efforts in the voting algorithms is somehow wasted still. That's what I want to say. We won't, so making or designing and building the perfect voting algorithm is super hard or impossible. The least we can do is try for the best, and try for the best on all layers, on the voting design layer, on the access rights and the proofs layer that have to be provided, and also on the information layer as we had it yesterday. So if you don't know how to vote, how should you make a good choice? Okay. Anything else? Any questions for Vitor on this on-chain, off-chain thing, robustness? How many of you have ever taken part in a voting, token-based voting? Joanne, yeah, Thiago, cool. I did, cool. Yeah, so I'm sure you've collected valuable experience in participating that you now can bring to the table for designing a good system as well. Awesome. Good. We have, I think, one more question. No. Switch on your mic again or drop a note in the chat if you have questions. Okay. If there aren't any, we might find more along the way, Vitor, I guess, and that's why we said, okay, mid-May we should sync again on the preliminary design and should check with you. Okay, Yongsi, you have a question.
Yeah, regarding the snapshot, I have a concern. If one of our requirements is that we allow non-NFT holders to vote, that seems to be challenging within Snapshot, at least my understanding of Snapshot. Like with a, go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great question, but that's a great part of like Snapchat, because like if we're using like an on-chain only mechanism, that'll be true. Like, but with Snapchat, it is basically a JavaScript runtime. They're like, yes, we'll read like on-chain data, but you can read off-chain data as well. So like we, for example, can call via this like snapshot strategy that will like check your voting way. We can call like other things off-chain, for example, or the backend of Token Engineering Academy to get more data about you. For example, do you have a registered, a valid registered wallet, or even like a whitelist? So like, you can get pretty much anything that like a JavaScript runtime can do besides the on-chain part as well.
But Jons, this is really a great question. For those of you who now have question marks, we have an on-chain can only read the NFTs. On-chain the chain does not know who has a TE Academy account, and the chain also does not know who has associated and linked a personal wallet to a TE Academy. This address is known to the network, but not that this wallet address is linked to a TE Academy account. And that's why this question was good. We would need some form of off-chain database that we have, and would have to query this database in order to find out who has a TE Academy account and who has a wallet associated, and also who registered for the study season, because we have the people who registered for the study season is only a subset of the total TE Academy students. And yeah, and to referring to that, it's true, we need some form of off-chain data anyways.
And you can like pair them up. So like you can pair like on-chain data, like off-chain data, or even like an allow list. So you can pair it all together in a single way in the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other questions? Last chance. If not, take the final 7 minutes of this call to take the requirements sheet. Sangam has dropped the link in the chat again, and you find it on Discord as well, and put in your the requirements that you have found. Don't forget to add your name so that we can, your Discord name, so that we can collect your points and reference if you have made any comments on Discord. And note the requirements, provide some context why this is relevant based on the conversation with Vitor today, and also based on your own research, your own experience. And this way, let's collect the requirements. Deadline is next Tuesday. And then we'll take these requirements to the next stage in the voting design. Sounds good? Cool. Thanks a lot for today. Thanks, Vitor, for being open to run this session. We'll stay in touch, everyone, and see you around. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.